first, then we can switch over to the instruction. My screen is visible to everyone. Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
So what was the last addressing mode which we have done? Can anyone of you tell me what was the last addressing mode?
Absolute addressing.
Absolute addressing mode. So we have done with the absolute addressing mode. Now we have left with four addressing modes: long addressing, indexed addressing, bit inherent addressing, and bit direct addressing. Okay. So we will see the next one. It is long addressing mode. Yes. See here now. See on the see on the screen. Now we will be talking about the long addressing mode. Now in this long addressing mode, as the word suggests, it is a long. Okay, that is a long jump. So mostly we have to go with the long jump, LJMP or L call. Okay. Now L jump 5000 H. Suppose an instruction is given as L jump, that is a long jump 5000 H. Okay. Now this particular, if you see, it is of 16 bit. 5000 H is of 16 bit address. Okay, it is a 16 bit address. Now whenever you are calling to a particular address of 5000 H, that means we will be executing the we will be jumping to the location where there are instructions which is present at 5000 H. So it's a long jump. It's a long jump. So I am using all my 16 address. So for 5 there will be 4 bits. 0 will be 4 bits. 0 will be 4 bits. 0 will be 4 bits. So total 16 bits will be used. Okay, total 16 bits will be used. So when I'm using my all 16 bits to jump to a particular, so it is called as a branch instruction. Okay, it is called as a branch instruction. Ljump is called as a branch instruction because I am going from a particular location towards the instruction which is present at 5000 H. So if I'm using 16-bit address, so till what address location I can go? So I can go within the 64K. So can you see on the screen? If I'm using a 16-bit of address, I can go with the memory space of 2 to the power of 16, that is 64K. 64K. Okay. So long jump, I can go with the distance of 64, within the distance of 64, because I'm using all my 16 bits. I'm using my all my 16 bits. Okay. But that was the what was the case for absolute addressing? In the absolute addressing, I have already told you that by using my 11 bits, I can go with the 2 kilobytes of address space. Okay. So with 11, I can go with 2K. And for my 16, I can go with 64K. So this is already I've explained you. Okay. This is already I've explained you. So always see, whenever I go with 16 bits of at 16 bits when I'm using for branch instruction, then it is called as a absolute addressing. Whenever I am using 16-bit for branch instruction, then it is called as a long addressing. It is called as a long address. Okay, it is called as a long address. Now here LJMP 5000H is, that means we are going from main program to the same main program, but that is at the address of 5000H. Now there is other instruction which is called as lcall. That is a long call. Now whenever you see this lcall, it is associated with the 16-bit, but it is associated with the subroutine. Okay. Now what I mean to say that LJMP is somewhere associated with A. It is associated with AJMP, and your L call is somewhere related with A call. Okay, A call. Okay, so these two instructions for absolute addressing, these two instructions are for long addressing. The only difference is 11 bits are used here, and here 16 bits are used. And when you talk about absolute call, actually we are calling to the subroutine. We are calling to the subroutine. Okay, and your subroutine should be also within the range of 2K if I'm using absolute addressing. And here L call is, again we are going to the subroutine, but that subroutine address should be also within the range of 64K. Please remember this. Okay, so as I have told you, whenever you talk about subroutine, that is, this is your instructions, this is your main program, this is your main program. So this is my main program, and there is a subroutine program. This is my subroutine. This is my subroutine, and in the main program somewhere I am calling L call, suppose 6000H. Now again I'm using my 16 bits. That's why I should use L call, because it is a long addressing. Okay, so L call will not jump to the 16000H in the same main program, but it will go to the subroutine program, which will start somewhere from 6000H. That is a main. Okay, 6000H. And if somewhere in the main program, if I am writing down LJump, and if I am writing down 5000H, then in the same main program, somewhere you have an address of 5000H, and in that address, somewhere some instructions are written, suppose XYZ. This is an instruction which is written. So when you call LJump 5000H, you will move into the same main program, but that main program instruction will start from 5000H. So that is the main difference between LJump and LCall, which is same applicable for AJump and A call. Okay, तो difference मैंने already आपको बताया. Absolute utilizes 11 bits. Okay, and if I'm using AJump, I will be jumping in the same main program. If I'm calling A call, I will be jumping to the subroutine program. Similarly, here also LJump and L call. If I'm using LJump 5000H, then I am in the same main program. So I will be jumping to the same main program, where I will be jumping where the instruction is at the memory address 5000H. And when I'm using L call 6000H, that means I am going from the main program to the subroutine program. In the subroutine program, I will be going to the memory address 6000H, and in the 6000H, there will be some XYZ instruction will be written there, and that will be executed. Okay, so that is the main difference between absolute addressing and long addressing. Do you have any doubt in this? Do you have any doubt in this? Is it clear? Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please कोई doubt हो तो पूछो मुझे. So I was talking about this long addressing. So in this long addressing, I have told you the two examples. So you need to See, sometimes it might be asked in the Viva, or it might be asked for 2 mark or 1 mark, that some instructions will be given to you out of 4 instructions, or they will be giving you one instruction and they will ask you whether this instruction is associated with long jump or absolute jump. Okay, so वैसे instruction देख के भी हमको समझ में आता है, but the only thing is that as far as long addressing is concerned, you are dealing with 16 bits. You are dealing with 16 bits. Okay, and for absolute address it is 11 bits. So remember these two instructions. Is it clear? Now we'll go to the next one. The next addressing mode is so we have gone with the long addressing. Now it is index addressing. Okay, so index addressing is important, so I want everyone to pay attention to the index addressing. So index addressing is here. Yes, this is index address. This is important, so I want everyone to listen to this explanation for this addressing mode. Now, index addressing is what? Index addressing is what? Now, whenever you talk about the index addressing, mostly we deal with these type of instructions. Move C A comma at the rate of A plus DPTR. Okay, or we can go with move C A comma A comma at the rate of A plus DPTR. So whenever you talk about the index addressing, mostly we use either PC or we use DPTR. We'll be using DPTR. Okay, index addressing. Index addressing. Now here we have to understand what is an base address and what is an offset address. Okay, now you have to understand that I have to calculate the effective address. So if I want to calculate the effective address, or final address, it is given by effective address is equals to base address plus offset address Okay, now whenever you talk about the base address, as far as base address is concerned, this base address will be available either in PC or it will be available in the DPTR. Okay, because your offset your base address will be either present in your PC program counter or it will be present in the DPTR. So can I say your data pointer or program counter will hold your base address? Yes, and it is of 16 bit. Because आपको पता है program counter is of 16 bit or your DPTR is also 16 bit. So this base address will be hold either in this two. Okay, and it is of 16 bit. Now what is an offset address? Offset address will be hold in accumulator. It will be hold into the accumulator. Okay, so after I add the base address to the value of the offset address, then I get an effective address. So the equation is already written on the screen. It is written on the screen. Okay, now index addressing is used with jump or move C instruction. It is used with jump or it is used with move C instruction. Okay, now whenever you see move C instruction, it is already mentioned here, move C A comma at the rate of A plus DPTR. So suppose whatever is present in the accumulator, and you know the accumulator will hold 8 bit of data. So that 8 bit of data, when is added with the content of PC or DPTR, then it will give you the effective address. And that effective address may जो भी कुछ content है, that is moved into the accumulator. And always remember, it is move C. So whenever I am using move C, that is I am using external code memory or external program memory. तो external program memory suppose ये है, तो कौन से एड्रेस में से जो डेटा XYZ जो है वो जो मुझे मूव करना है एक्यूमुलेटर में, तो ये XYZ जो डेटा है मुझे मूव करना है एक्यूमुलेटर में, तो XYZ का जो इफेक्टिव XYZ का जो एड्रेस है XYZ का जो भी एड्रेस है, दिस एड्रेस इज नथिंग बट इफेक्टिव एड्रेस. दिस एड्रेस इज नथिंग बट इफेक्टिव एड्रेस. और इफेक्टिव एड्रेस कैसे कैलकुलेट किया जाता है? बेस एड्रेस प्लस ऑफसेट एड्रेस. सो कैन यू सी हियर, DPTR is a base address plus A which is a offset address, and can you see at the rate is mentioned here, जो मैंने ऑलरेडी आपको इसका at the rate का सिग्निफिकेंस बताया था. So at the rate means whatever A plus DPTR का जो भी वैल्यू मिलता है, that is the address. So that is address mentioned here. और वो एड्रेस में जो भी कुछ कंटेंट है, that is move into the accumulator. That is move into the accumulator. So आपके accumulator में वो content will be copied down. Okay. So always remember this instruction will go with move C or it will go with JMP. Okay. So move C हमेशा याद रखना. I am moving the data from the external code memory. Okay. And that address is calculated by adding the offset with the base address. Okay. And that is moved here. Similarly, here also you can see PC plus accumulator. दोनों मिलने ऐड करने के बाद इफेक्टिव एड्रेस मिलता है. इफेक्टिव एड्रेस में जो भी कुछ कंटेंट है, that will be copied into the accumulator. That is as simple as it. Okay, that is as simple as it. Have you understood this? How do you calculate the effective address? So remember that we need to understand the base address कहाँ पे hold होता है, that is a 16 bit, और offset address कहाँ पे store होता है, that is in the accumulator.
Sir,
हाँ.
Sir, can you repeat what is the meaning of A plus PC? At the rate A plus PC.
At the rate का मैंने पहले बताया था. At the rate का मतलब होता है कि I'll be using ये जो A plus DPTR करूंगा और जो भी मुझे फाइनल आएगा वैल्यू, that is not the data but that is the address. Okay, so what is A is your offset. Accumulator में जो भी कुछ रहेगा that will be used as an offset. DPTR में जो भी रहेगा that will be used as a base address. So whenever you add A plus DPTR, that is offset plus base address, that will give you the effective address. और वो जो A plus DPTR करूंगा, that is not the data but that is used as a effective address or it is used as a address. तो ये जो भी मेरा एक्सटर्नल प्रोग्राम मेमोरी है, तो सपोज मुझे XYZ जो मुझे मूव करना है एक्यूमुलेटर में, तो XYZ कौन से एड्रेस पे है, दैट इज एट द एड्रेस ऑफ व्हेन यू ऐड A प्लस DPTR. तो ये A प्लस DPTR मिलके जो भी कुछ मिलता है, सपोज मुझे मिलता है 6000 मिलता है, 6000H. A प्लस DPTR जो अगर मैं करता हूँ तो मुझे मिलता है 6000H. तो 6000H is not the data but it is the address where the data is stored and that data will be moved into the accumulator. So here 6000H जो मुझे मिला है by adding offset plus base address, तो ये 6000 will act as the effective address. और वो effective address में जो भी मेरा data है या content है, that will be copied into the accumulator because my instruction is move C A comma at the rate of A plus DPTR. So this A plus DPTR में जो content है, that will be moved into the accumulator. That is it. अभी समझा?
Yes, sir.
हाँ. So this is index addressing. Please remember, questions पूछते हैं. What is index addressing? So you have to explain properly with an example. And wherever it is required, you have to draw the diagram. Okay, you have to draw the diagram. So this is about the instructions of index addressing. This is the instruction used for the index address. So everything is mentioned in this on the screen now. You can take the screenshot and then afterwards you can write it down. Okay, then we will go to the next addressing mode. Please ask me the questions if you have any doubt. Then we will go to the next addressing mode, and that is so we have gone with the index addressing. Now only two are left, addressing modes are left. That is bit inherent addressing and bit direct addressing. Both of them are easy. So we will see first the bit inherent addressing. The bit inherent addressing is here. Yes. this is a bit and bit inherent addressing. So bit inherent, I'm hoping that you are writing down simultaneously. Okay, so bit inherent क्या होता है? You need to underline this bit inherent. It is written on the screen that in this addressing, the address of the flag which contains the operand is implied in the opcode of the instruction. It is implied in the opcode of the instruction. Okay. Now here address of the flag. So you know there are flags which are carry flag, auxiliary carry flag, parity flag, overflow flag. So these are some of the flags. Now here the address of the flag. For example, if I am taking the carry flag, तो carry flag जो है उसका address which contains the operand is present in the opcode itself. Can you see your operational code is CLRC? It is CLRC. So what is CLRC? CLRC means you have to clear the carry flag. You have to clear the carry flag. So clear the carry flag means you have to make this carry flag as 0. You have to make this carry flag as 0. So can you see here? Clear the carry flag to 0. So directly I have an instruction CLRC. So that is why it is called as a bit inherent addressing. It is called as bit inherent addressing, in which the instruction itself will give you the opcode, will give you the operand of the address of the flag. It will give you the opcode of an operand of a flag. Okay. So जैसे मैं CLRC कर सकता हूँ, I can use set B C. So this will, what it will do, it will make your carry flag as 1. Will make your carry flag as 1. So I do not have to remember the address of the carry flag. Directly आप वो instruction में लिख डालो CLRC, so that your C will be 0, carry flag will be 0, or set B, which will use to make your carry flag is equals to 1. So this is bit inherent. Inherent is important. Present in the instruction itself. Is it clear? This is a very simple bit inherent addressing. Is it clear? Nothing more about this bit inherent addressing. This is a simple one. Here you have to just understand CLR and set B. And in that case, you can clear any of the flags, or you can set any of the flags. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the last one is remaining. That is your bit direct addressing. Bit direct addressing. So we will see the bit direct addressing. So bit direct addressing is here. Yes, this is bit direct addressing. Bit direct addressing, this is also important. So there might be a confusion between bit inherent and bit direct. Bit inherent and bit direct. Okay, bit inherent and bit direct. Now see here, to make it very clear, we will see the same example. Now here, if you have RAM space 20H to 2FH, and most of the special function registers are bit addressable. Okay, so your bit address value will be from 00H to 7FH. Now don't ask me what is 00H to 7F. आपको पता है, when I was talking about the programming model, if you remember, now I want you to imagine now, जो मैं बता रहा हूँ. In the programming model, we have seen that your banks are there. So this is bank 0, then you have bank 1, then you have bank 2, then you have bank 3. Then after that you have, can anyone of you tell me what is after bank 3? ये जो है, I want to know what is this. इसको नाम दिया था हमने.
Bit addressable area.
हाँ, it is a bit addressable area. So your bit addressable area will start from 20H. ये address है ना? This is a 20H से लेके 2FH. 28 से लेके 2FH। तो ये जो है, मैं इसको अलग से बनाता हूँ, ये है 20H से लेके ये लास्ट वाला जो है 2FH। तो ये जो एरिया है ना, दिस इज अ बिट एड्रेसेबल एरिया, दिस इज अ बिट एड्रेसेबल एरिया। ओके, ये बिट एड्रेसेबल एरिया और इसके अलावा स्पेशल फंक्शन रजिस्टर का जो एरिया है, ये देखो मैं सिर्फ एरिया बना रहा हूँ। स्पेशल फंक्शन रजिस्टर का जो एरिया है, अभी उसका मुझे एड्रेस नहीं पता कहाँ से कहाँ तक, बट यू कैन जस्ट गो बैक, यू विल कम टू नो। सो व्हाट आई मीन टू से दैट यूर SFR का जो एरिया और आपका जो बीट एड्रेसेबल का जो एरिया है, दैट इज फ्रॉम 28 से लेकर 2FH। ओके, सो दैट विल हैव द बीट एड्रेस, इट विल गो फ्रॉम 00 से लेके 7FH। तो ये दो इंडिविजुअल जो बीट एड्रेसेबल एरिया है ना, उसको भी मैंने पहले बताया था कि इट इज अ बीट एड्रेसेबल, दैट मींस एनी इंडिविजुअल बीट कैन बी एक्सेस्ड, any individual bit can be accessed. That means that individual area, that individual bit can be made 0 or that can be made as 1. Okay, so how that can be made 0 that or 1? By using CLR or by using set B. Sorry, it is set B. It is SET, set B. So if I want to make that particular bit as 0, use CLR. If I want to make that space as 1, use set B. Okay, so for example, it is mentioned here. It is mentioned here. See here at the downside. It is mentioned here in the downside. Now, if I am using CLR 07H, now this 07H is what? This is important. Now 07 is what? This is bit 7 of 20H RAM. Bit 7 of 20H RAM. ओके, बिट 7 ऑफ 20H रैम। इसका मतलब क्या है? ये देखो, ये आपका जो सपोज रैम स्पेस है, ओके, ये है 20H, ये है 20H। ओके, अब ये जो आपको पता है, दिस इज बिट 0, दिस इज बिट 1, दिस इज बिट 2, डॉट डॉट डॉट, लास्ट वाला है बिट 7। तो इसको मैंने बोला था आपको, सपोज एग्जांपल में B0, B1, ये है B2, डॉट 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 B7। तो सपोज ये B7 का जो बीट है, इसको मुझे करना है 0, ये वाले बीट को मुझे 0 करना है, ये वाले बीट को मुझे 0 करना है। तो आप इंस्ट्रक्शन क्या लिखोगे? आप लिखोगे CLR 07H। आप क्या लिखोगे? CLR 07। तो ये जो B7 का जो बीट है ना, ये 0 हो जाएगा, वो बीट 0 हो जाएगा। ओके, और आपको पता है B7 कौन सा बीट? 20H का। अभी इसके ऊपर अभी जो दूसरे कौन से बीट चालू होंगे? ये इसका एड्रेस है 07, इसका एड्रेस है 08, इसका एड्रेस है 09, इसका एड्रेस है 0A। ये सब मैंने आपको बताया था। सो व्हाट आई मीन टू से दैट ये 20H से लेके जो 2FH तक जो है, ये बीट एड्रेसेबल एरिया है, इसका कौन सा भी बीट आप 0 या फिर 1 कर सकते हो, प्रोवाइडेड दैट आपको पता होना चाहिए वो बीट का एड्रेस क्या है, ओके। जैसे मुझे ये बीट का 07 जो एड्रेस है 07, उसको 0 करना है, तो मैंने डायरेक्टली यूज किया है CLR 07। सपोज ये जो दिख रहा है आपको, इसका एड्रेस अगर मुझे पता है, सपोज इसका एड्रेस है XX और उसको मुझे 1 करना है, तो मैं क्या करूंगा? मैं करूंगा सेट BXX, खत्म। तो ये जो बीट है ना, ये 1 हो जाएगा, ये बीट है मेरा 1 हो जाएगा। ये मैं क्यों कर पा रहा हूँ? बिकॉज ये एरिया है बिट एड्रेसेबल। आई कैन टच एनी ऑफ द बिट, आई कैन एक्सेस एनी ऑफ द बिट, I can modify any of the bits. I can make it 0 or I can make it 1. If I want to make it 0, use CLR. If I want to make 1, I have to use set B. Okay, use set B. Is it clear now? Any questions you have? तो ये और एक बात, ये CLR और set B, CLR या फिर set B, I can use where? I can use in the bit addressable area. I can use in the bit addressable area, and that bit addressable area 28 से लेके 2FH और special function register area, और जिस पर्सनल फंक्शन रजिस्टर पे आपने एस्ट्रिक डाला था ना, उसी पे आप ये बिट डायरेक्ट एड्रेसिंग यूज कर सकते हो। और बिट डायरेक्ट एड्रेसिंग के लिए कौन से दो इंपॉर्टेंट इंस्ट्रक्शन है, CLR और सेट बी, खत्म। आई होप यू हैव अंडरस्टूड दिस नाउ। Is it fine
Yes.
to everyone? Please have, if you have questions, please ask. Any questions from your side? Any questions from your side?
No, sir.
No,
Okay.
sir.
Please revise, जो मैं बता रहा हूँ रिवाइज करो। Okay, ये सब important है। You should know this properly. Okay. Now, if you know this, now we can actually go to the we can move towards the address instruction set. Please mute yourself. इसका तो भी mic on है। So please mute yourself. So we have done with this different addressing modes. So we have done with immediate, register, direct, indirect, relative, absolute, long, index, bit, and direct. Bit inherent and bit direct. Okay. Now with this understanding of addressing modes, see, you have to understand this properly, because definitely questions are asked on this. And if you are not, if you don't have confidence over the addressing mode, you cannot understand the different instruction set, क्योंकि यहाँ पे बहुत सारे instruction sets। तो मैं अगर कोई भी आपको इंस्ट्रक्शन सेट का सिंटैक्स बताता हूँ, और मैं अगर पूछता हूँ कि वो इंस्ट्रक्शन कौन सा एड्रेसिंग मोड का है, तो वो एड्रेसिंग मोड आपको बताना पड़ता है। सो दैट विल बी एनी वन आउट ऑफ दिस 10, that will be any one out of this 10. Okay, so please go through these addressing modes. We have done with the addressing modes. Now we are going with the instruction sets. Before I go through the instruction sets, I have to show you something related with the addressing modes, and I want answer from you. Okay, so what I have to show you, please see on the screen now, because that is also very important. If you have understood the addressing modes, you will be able to give me the answers. Otherwise, I'm not going to ask you the answer, but I will just yes, I will just explain you. Now see here, see here now. All of you pay attention. This is very important figure. If you have understood the addressing mode, you will be able to understand this figure now. Now in this figure, now this is my data bus. This is my data bus. Okay, this is my data bus. This is my internal and external ROM. This is internal and external ROM. This is my external ROM, and this is my internal RAM. This is my internal RAM. If you ask me where is the external ROM, then external RAM. External RAM is here. Then if you ask me where is internal ROM and internal internal ROM and external ROM, it is here. Internal and external ROM. So to access my internal and external ROM, to access my external RAM, to access my internal RAM, what different instructions I can use, and with what different registers I can use. So please pay attention carefully now, whatever I am explaining. Okay, so one thing is clear, I have to access internal RAM, number 1. I have to access external RAM, number 2. I have to access internal and external ROM, number 3. So what different instructions I can use, and with what registers? So I will go with the number 1. So if I have to access my internal RAM, the instructions which I can use are move A, or I can use move A, comma @RI. Here RI means you can go with R0 or R1. Okay, R0 or R1. You can go with R0 or R1. Okay, so specifically I can say move A, comma R1. ये अगर हम यूज करेंगे तो हम इंटरनल रैम को एक्सेस कर रहे हैं। ओके, इंटरनल रैम को एक्सेस कर रहे हैं। अगर दूसरा इंस्ट्रक्शन क्या है, इट इज मूव ए कॉमा डायरेक्ट, तो हम डायरेक्टली ये इंटरनल रैम का जो भी कुछ एड्रेस है वो एड्रेस हम डायरेक्टली वहां पे मेंशन कर सकते हैं. ओके, सो आई कैन यूज मूव ए कॉमा एट द रेट ऑफ आर आई. एट द रेट इज इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज जो सपोज मैं यूज कर रहा हूँ मूव ए कॉमा एट द रेट ऑफ R0 में जो भी कुछ कंटेंट है दैट कंटेंट विल बी यूज एज एन एड्रेस, और वो एड्रेस जो इंटरनल रैम का है वो एड्रेस में जो कुछ कंटेंट है दैट विल बी मूव्ड टू एक्यूमुलेटर. आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट मूव ए comma at the rate of R. Can any one of you tell me which addressing mode is this? Move a comma at the rate of R. Can any one of you tell me?
Indirect addressing.
Yes, it is indirect addressing. That is right. और अगर मैं यूज कर रहा हूँ move a comma direct, can any one of you tell me what is this addressing mode?
Indirect.
Indirect कैसे क्या?
Direct address.
It is direct ना?
Direct addressing.
Sorry sir, direct. Sorry.
हाँ, it is a direct addressing mode. क्योंकि हमारा जो एड्रेस है ना, ये जो एड्रेस जो इंटरनल रैम का जो एड्रेस है वो डायरेक्टली इंस्ट्रक्शन में है. इट इज अ डायरेक्ट एड्रेसिंग मोड. ओके, सो दिस इज हाउ आई कैन एक्सेस माय इंटरनल रैम. ओके, दिस इज हाउ आई कैन एक्सेस माय इंटरनल रैम. अभी दूसरी बात है, मैं जो ये आपको बताया था ना आर आई हियर आई कैन take the value from 0 to 7. Here I can take the value from 0 to 7. R0, R1, R2, R3, R4, R5, R6, R7. And by default, it is banked 0 unless and until specified. Okay, so I can use Ri where I will be from 0 to 7. Is it clear? Is it clear to everyone? So this is how you can access your internal RAM. Internal RAM का chapter close. Internal RAM का chapter close. Okay, internal RAM. यहाँ पे ये मैंने पहले बताया था आपको आ रहा है, तो आ रहा है कैन बी 0 to 7. याद रखो, मैंने इसको सर्कल किया था, वो सर्कल इसके लिए नहीं था, तो दिस इज रॉन्ग. आर आई कैन टेक द वैल्यू फ्रॉम 0 to 7. आर आई कैन टेक द वैल्यू फ्रॉम 0 to 7. प्लीज रिमेंबर दिस. Okay, so this is how I can access my internal RAM. Now come to the number 2 now. How do you access my external RAM? How do you access my external RAM? External RAM can be accessed in two different ways. First way is this, second way is this. So by using R0 or R1, अभी यहाँ पे सर्कल करूंगा मैं. I cannot use R2, I cannot use R3, I cannot use R4. I can only use just a minute, just a second. Yes. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes.
मेरी आवाज आ रही है? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है. तो how do I access my external RAM? I can access my external RAM by either of the two way. पहले वाला by using R0 or R1. I cannot use R2, R3, R4, R5, R6, R7. So by using R0 and R1, I can use by using this instruction. Move X A comma at the rate of Ri. Now here Ri is either 0 or 1. Here Ri is either 0 or 1. Okay, so it is move X A comma at the rate of Ri. यहाँ पे X is important because मैं external RAM को access कर रहा हूँ. I cannot only use move. I should use move X. I have to use move X. So that is more important. इसलिए यहाँ पे you have move X at the rate of Ri. What is other way? Other way is by using the DPTR. So how I can use? I have to use move X A comma at the rate of DPTR. Okay, move X A comma at the rate of DPTR. So this is how I can access my external RAM. Okay, so use either R0 or R1 or you can use DPTR. Okay, so this is your second. This is how you can access your external RAM. This is how you can access your external RAM. Okay, then comes The next one, that is how do you access my internal and external ROM. Internal रहे या फिर external रहे, how you can access. That can be accessed by using either DPTR or PC, जो अभी हमने लिया है. Offset plus base address give you effective address. Offset plus base address which gives you effective address. Okay, so you have an instruction here, move CA comma at the rate of A plus DPTR. It is move CA comma at the rate of A plus DPTR. So you can access your internal or external ROM. Okay, यहाँ पे और एक बात इंपॉर्टेंट है, हम जब पिन कॉन्फ़िगरेशन ले रहे थे उसमें मैंने EA बार के बारे में एक्सप्लेन किया था. तो ये मूव सी जो इंस्ट्रक्शंस है ना, जो एक्सटर्नल और इंटरनल ROM को एक्सेस करना है, ये EA बार अगर 0 है तो क्या केस है, और EA बार अगर 1 है तो क्या केस है. कोई बता सकता है ये? EA बार अगर 0 है तो क्या केस है, और EA बार अगर 1 है तो क्या केस है? This one we have studied thoroughly in the pin configuration. ये इसलिए मैं बता रहा हूँ बिकॉज मूव सी जो इंस्ट्रक्शन है वो इंटरनल और एक्सटर्नल ROM को हम एक्सेस जब करते हैं तो EA बार का भी सिग्निफिकेंस है, इसका भी इम्पोर्टेंस है.
सर ये
इसका भी
बात 0 से कनेक्टेड रहेगा, so it will only execute code from the external memory only.
And if EA bar is equals to 1?
From on-chip memory and external memory both.
Very good, very good, very good. That is what I am expecting the answer. That is very good. Okay, तो हमेशा याद रखना EA bar अगर 0 तो only internal memory, that is on chip, and for EA bar is equals to 1 I can access my on chip as well as off chip memory. Okay, तो ये मूव सी के साथ इसका भी इम्पोर्टेंट है, इट हैज अ रिलेशन. हम सिर्फ ये नहीं कर सकते, हमको उसके हिसाब से इसको भी करना है कि मुझे इंटरनल ROM को एक्सेस करना है या फिर ऑफ चिप एक्सटर्नल ROM को एक्सेस करना है. तो उस हिसाब से आपको EA बार 0 या फिर EA बार 1 रखना. ओके, तो ये this was very important slide because here it will give you explanation of all the important how do you which instructions you are using for to access my internal RAM, external RAM, or internal and external ROM. Is it clear? Shall we proceed further now? Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now this is how. Now let me check और कुछ important बाकी है क्या, so that I can go to the other part. Yes. Now please write down the heading. All of you, I want you to write down the heading as instruction timing. Please write down the heading as instruction timing. This is important. This is very important. This is the only part which is left before I start with the instruction set. This is the only part which is left before I start with the instruction set. तो आपको ये सब पता होना चाहिए, आपको ये पता होना चाहिए. So everyone has written instruction timing, yes or no?
Yes.
सबने लिख, हाँ. Okay. Now see here all of you, this is important concept, instruction timing. Instruction timing. Now suppose see here now, आपका एक प्रोग्राम है 4 लाइन का, आपका एक प्रोग्राम है 4 लाइन का. ओके, मैंने पहले ही बताया था कोई इंस्ट्रक्शन 1 बाइट खाता है, 2 बाइट खाता है या 3 बाइट खाता है, वो हिसाब से नेक्स्ट इंस्ट्रक्शन का एड्रेस डिसाइड होता है. मैं जो बोल रहा हूँ याद से सुनो, मैं जो बता रहा हूँ. सपोज आपका एक इंस्ट्रक्शन, आपका एक प्रोग्राम है सपोज 4 लाइन का. वन बेटर आई विल शो यू हियर. सपोज you have the program consisting of 4 lines. Here you have some instruction, suppose X, Y, Z. Here you have ABC. Here you have E, F, G, H, I, J. I'm giving you an example. XYZ instruction hai, it requires suppose 2 bytes. This requires 3 bytes. This requires 1 byte. This again requires 1 byte. Okay, so 2 byte है तो 2 byte खाने के बाद ये जो एड्रेस है ABC का वो डिसाइड होता है. 3 byte खाने के बाद AFG का जो इंस्ट्रक्शन है वो कौन से एड्रेस पे है वो डिसाइड होता है. और HIG AFG 1 byte का है तो HIG का इंस्ट्रक्शन कौन से एड्रेस पे वो डिसाइड होता है. Suppose XYZ is at the address of 6000H. इसने 2 बाइट खाया. ABC कौन से एड्रेस पे आएगा?
6000.
2.
देखो 6000 पे 1 बाइट और 6001 पे सेकेंड बाइट तो 6002. Am I right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. अभी ABC इंस्ट्रक्शन 3 बाइट खाता है तो नेक्स्ट वाला जो AFG इंस्ट्रक्शन है कौन से एड्रेस पे रहेगा?
6005H.
वेरी गुड. अब AFG 1 बाइट खाता है तो नेक्स्ट वाला इंस्ट्रक्शन कौन से एड्रेस पे रहेगा? HIG कौन से?
6006H.
वेरी गुड. तो दिस इज हाउ इट इज डिसाइडेड. ओके, ये आपका भी समझ में है. ओके, नाउ वी विल सी इन द इंस्ट्रक्शन टाइमिंग. नाउ अभी इंस्ट्रक्शन टाइमिंग में आपको पता है कि कौन सी भी इंस्ट्रक्शन एग्जीक्यूट करने के लिए इट रिक्वायर सम टाइम. डेटा ट्रांसफर करो या फिर कुछ एडिशन करो, एवरीवेयर यू रिक्वायर इन एसोसिएशन विद द क्लॉक पल्सेस. सो एवरीवेयर एसोसिएटेड विद द क्लॉक पल्सेस योर इंस्ट्रक्शंस विल बी एग्जीक्यूटेड. ये क्लॉक पल्सेस. ओके, ये आपका 8051 है. You have a crystal connected, so this is called as a crystal frequency जो अंदर जा रही है. But this crystal frequency will be divided by 12 और divided by 12 होने के बाद जो 8051 के अंदर जा रही है that is called as a clock frequency. So what is the clock frequency? I can say clock frequency is equals to crystal frequency divided by 12. For example, if my crystal frequency is of 12 megahertz, then the clock frequency will be 1 megahertz. So this 1 megahertz is suppose this. ये जो क्लॉक दिखा है ना ये 1 megahertz का है और मैं पूछूंगा आपको कि 1 megahertz का फ्रीक्वेंसी तो पीरियड कितना है तो उसका पीरियड विल बी 1/f which will be the time period. So 1/f will reciprocal will give you the time period. Okay, that means it will give you on time and off time. So on time plus off time gives you the time period. On time and off time will give you time period. Okay, now with this understanding we are going to see instruction timing. So मैं जो आपको पहले बता रहा था कि ये जो इंस्ट्रक्शन एग्जीक्यूट करने को आपको कितने एड्रेस लगते हैं, वही इंस्ट्रक्शन एग्जीक्यूट 2 बाइट, 3 बाइट, 1 बाइट और 1 बाइट. 2 बाइट इंस्ट्रक्शन एग्जीक्यूट करने के लिए कितना टाइम लगता है? 3 बाइट इंस्ट्रक्शन एग्जीक्यूट करने के लिए कितना टाइम लगता है? 1 बाइट एग्जीक्यूशन एग्जीक्यूट करने के लिए कितना टाइम लगता है? अगर मुझे 1 बाइट इंस्ट्रक्शन एग्जीक्यूट करने के लिए टाइम पता चल गया तो दैट विल बी मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 2. दैट विल गिव यू कि 2 बाइट के लिए कितना टाइम लगता है. 1 बाइट के लिए अगर मुझे पता चला तो मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 3 विल गिव मी कि 3 बाइट के लिए कितना टाइम लगता है, एंड सो फोर्थ. सो फॉर दैट अंडरस्टैंडिंग, सो कैन आई से 2 plus 3 is 5, 5 plus 1 is 6, 6 plus 1 is 7. So 7 bytes are consumed for this program. Just a minute. Yes. So 2 plus 3, 5, 5 plus 1, 6, 6 plus 1, 7. So 7 bytes. So can I say to execute one program, I have consumed 7 bytes. So I have consumed 7 bytes. Okay. So to execute my 7 bytes, how much time is required? How much time is required? So can I say that time? Suppose that time is XYZ. That time is XYZ. So can I say XYZ timing is required to execute this program, which consists of 4 instructions. 1, 2, 3, 4. So XYZ is the time which is required to execute 1, 2, 3, 4 instructions of a program. Okay, and XYZ is the time required to execute 7 bytes. And you know now 7 bytes kahan se aaye? 7 bytes kahan se? Now with this understanding, now this is the proper understanding of this. Now with this understanding, now try to understand the some concepts of. Okay, आपका नेक्स्ट ये कब स्टार्ट होता है अभी लेक्चर?
सर एट 2:20
ना, ठीक है, और मुझे 5 मिनट दो, मैं फटाफट करता हूँ. So this now please read out what is written here. I'm going to read out this now. Please you also read along with me. The 8051 internal operations and external read-write operations are controlled by the oscillator clock input. T state, this is important. T state, comma, machine cycle and instruction cycle are terms used in instruction timing. So let us define one by one. First, we will define T state. Please write down T states in your register, in your notebook. First, T states लिखो, आगे सुनो क्या है. T state is what? T state is defined as one subdivision of the operation performed in one clock period. एक clock period में how much division of a program instruction can be performed. So the term T state and clock period are often used synonymously. So आप clock period बोलो या T state बोलो. So what does it mean? That your one clock period consists of on time and off time. So on or off time में कितना part of a instruction is executed. That is called as a T state. Okay. So T state is defined as one subdivision of the operation performed in one clock period. एक clock period में कितना instruction execute हुआ? एक clock period में कितना instruction execute हुआ? That is the meaning of T state. So sometimes T state and clock period are interchangeable words. Okay, are interchangeable words. Okay, so you have understood the T states now. You have understood the T states. Now we will understand what is the machine cycle. What is the machine cycle? This is important. This is important. ये नहीं समझ में आया तो आगे के कुछ भी नहीं समझ में आएगा. So what is a machine cycle now? What is the machine cycle? See here. What is the machine cycle? Please bear with me for more 5 minutes. Now here machine cycle is what? Machine cycle is what now? देखो पहले मैंने T state पर बताया, अभी मैं machine cycle पढ़ा रहा हूँ. उसके बाद मैं पढ़ाऊंगा instruction cycle. So we are going one by one. Machine cycle देखो क्या है? Machine cycle in 8051 is defined as 12 oscillator period. Underline this 3 to 4 times. Because this is important. Is defined as 12 oscillator periods. According to the Intel, आपको आगे दिख रहा नहीं है. I am going to read out what is written there. Now it is just a minute. Yes. According to the Intel, one machine cycle consists of 6 states, and each state lasts for 2 clock oscillator period. Now this is very important. Now see here, you have said that your one machine cycle consists of 12 oscillator period. Okay, and your one machine cycle consists of 6 states. So can I say 12 period, or it is 6 T states, 6 T states, 6 T states, and your one T states consists of 2 oscillator period. So 6 into 2 gives you 12. 6 into 2 gives you 12. So remember, your one T state comprises of 2 oscillator period, or you can say always oscillator period या फिर 2 clock period, and your 1 clock period consists of your 1 T states consists of 2 clock period, and your 1 machine cycle consists of 6 states. This is important. Okay, so 1 T states comprises of 2 clock period, and your 1 machine cycle consists of 6 states. That is why your 1 machine cycle comprises of 12 clock period. It comprises of 12 clock period. This is as per the definition given by the Intel. This is given by the Intel. Okay, so if I say 1 machine cycle is equals to 12 clock period or 6 states, can any one of you tell me if an instruction requires 4 machine cycles? 4 machine cycles. Can I say it is nothing but 12 4 36 clock period is required? या फिर tell me in terms of T states. It will be tell me in terms of T states. It will be how much? You have in front of you 1 machine cycle is equals to 12 clock period is equals to 60 states. Similarly, if one instruction requires 4 machine cycle, that means 4 into 12, it gives you 36 clock period. Then in terms of T states, मैं कितना लिखूंगा?
18T.
Yes, it is 18T. It is 18T. बराबर है? It is 18T. It is 18T. Okay. So last 2 minutes left now. Last 2 minutes, I am going to wind up this. So any instruction, if it requires 4 machine cycles, you can say that instruction is utilizing 36 clock period, or you can say it utilizes 18 T states, where 1 T states is equals to 2 clock period, where 18 states is equals to 2 clock period. Is it clear? Now with this understanding, now we have reached to the last portion, that is the instruction cycle. Now instruction cycle क्या है बोल रहा है? See here now. See on the screen. Instruction cycle क्या बोल रहा है? Instruction cycle is defined as the time required for completing the execution of the instruction. Suppose आपका एक instruction है XYZ, उसको कंप्लीट करने के लिए कितना टाइम लगता है, उसको बोलते हैं इंस्ट्रक्शन साइकिल. उसको बोलते हैं इंस्ट्रक्शन साइकिल. So as far as 8051 instruction cycle is concerned, it consists of 1 to 4 machine cycles. कोई भी इंस्ट्रक्शन साइकिल इंस्ट्रक्शन सेट लो 8051 का, उसको लगता है 1 इंस्ट्रक्शन साइकिल या फिर उसको लगता है मैक्स टू मैक्स 4. That means 1 to 4. So some may require 1 instruction cycle, some may require 2 instruction cycle, some may require 3 machine cycle. At the max, some may require 4 machine cycles. So with this understanding, let me explain you with an example, the small example, So last 1 minute now, we will see the example, then we will wind up. So the example is here. अगर ये समझ में आया तो you have understood everything now. See the example. 8051 microcontroller is operated with 12 MHz oscillator frequency. Find the execution time for the following 4 instructions: ADD A,45, SUBB A,55, move DPTR #2000H and MUL MUL AB. ये 4 इंस्ट्रक्शन दिए और उन्होंने कहा है कि 12 मेगाहर्ट्ज ऑसिलेटर फ्रीक्वेंसी पे आपका 8051 काम कर रहा है. तो उनका कहना है कि एग्जीक्यूशन टाइम कितना लगा है ये पहले इंस्ट्रक्शन को एग्जीक्यूट करने को, ये सेकंड इंस्ट्रक्शन को एग्जीक्यूट करने को, ये इंस्ट्रक्शन एग्जीक्यूट कर लो, ये करने को. अभी मैंने आपको पहले बताया था ऑसिलेटर फ्रीक्वेंसी 12 मेगाहर्ट्ज है, तो क्लॉक फ्रीक्वेंसी क्या है? क्लॉक फ्रीक्वेंसी इज 12 megahertz divided by 12. That is, can I say it is 1 megahertz? So if 1 megahertz is the clock frequency, what is the clock period then? It is a reciprocal. So can I say it is 1 by 12 megahertz? Yes, it is 1 by 12 megahertz. That is, it comes to be 0.0833 microseconds. Okay. Now, time for one machine cycle Can I say it is time for one machine cycle is 0.0883 microsecond into 12? क्योंकि मैंने आपको पहले बताया था one machine cycle is equals to 12 crystal frequency or clock period. So for one machine cycle it is 0.083. It is 0.083. So for one machine cycle it will be into multiply by 12. So it is 0.0833 microsecond into 12. So it comes to be 1 microsecond. It comes to be 1 microsecond. Okay. So if it comes to be 1 microsecond, if it is 1 microsecond, then this is what I was trying to explain you now. Last 15 seconds, then wind up. Here, I was talking about this. ADD A,5 एग्जीक्यूशन, इसको एग्जीक्यूट करने के लिए 1 मशीन साइकिल लगता है. इसको एग्जीक्यूट करने के लिए 1 मशीन साइकिल का लगता है. और आपने अभी निकाला 1 मशीन साइकिल इज इक्वल्स टू एक क्लॉक पीरियड का जो हमने लिया उसको मल्टीप्लाई बाय 12. ये मैंने बताया आपको. So it is requires 1 microsecond. So can I say ADD A,45 require 1 microsecond. Similarly, SUBB को कितने 2 machine cycles लगते हैं. So 2 into 0.8333 it is 2 microsecond. For move DPTR ये इंस्ट्रक्शन एग्जीक्यूट करने के लिए 2 machine cycle लगते हैं, तो उसको भी 2 microsecond लग रहे. मल AB उसको कितने machine cycle लग रहे हैं, 4 machine cycles लग रहे. So 4 into 0.0833, so it is 4 microsecond. So execution time for this one is 1 microsecond. Execution time for this is 2 microsecond. Execution time for this instruction is 2 microsecond. And execution time for this is 4 microsecond. So how you have got this, you please revise at home. Already I have explained. So for that you should know T states, you should know instruction cycle, and at the last you should know the machine cycle. So once you know this and once you know the calculation, you will be able to know all this particular aspect. Okay. So we will stop here. Next time I will start with the instruction set. Before that, please go through this. Okay. If attendance is over, you can leave. Thank you. CR, attendance हुआ है क्या?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Bye bye. Take care. See you in the next lecture.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye. सॉरी आपका ज्यादा टाइम ले लिया.
हेलो सर.
हाँ बोलो बोलो.
सर 4 मशीन साइकिल के लिए 36 क्लॉक पीरियड कैसे आएगा? 48 आएगा ना?
36 आपने जो बोला था, मैंने जो बताया था, एक मशीन साइकिल को कितने ये लगते हैं?
12 लगते हैं ना सर?
12 लगते हैं. हाँ 12 क्लॉक ये लगते हैं. और एक क्लॉक पीरियड के लिए आपने निकाला 0.083.
हाँ.
तो 0.083 into 12 करेंगे तो?
हाँ पर सर वो नहीं बोल रहा हूँ मैं सर. वो आपने बोला था ना 1 मशीन साइकिल इज इक्वल टू 12 क्लॉक पीरियड.
यस.
हाँ तो फिर 4 मशीन साइकिल के लिए कितना 12 into 4 आएगा ना सर?
हाँ 12 into 4 48.
हाँ तो नहीं सर आपने 36 बोला था इसलिए मैं कंफ्यूज हो गया.
अच्छा हाँ नहीं इट शुड बी 48 राइट. इट शुड बी 48.
ओके सर.
तो फिर 48 अगर होगा तो फिर उसका टी स्टेट कितना होगा?
24 टी आएगा ना?
24. यस 24 राइट.
ओके सर. थैंक
यू. Any more questions you have, students?